Well, greetings and salutations to you all once again. It is I, the Ravenous Spectre, and today I'm going to show a few little pickups that I ended up getting yesterday. I ended up getting $80 in trading credit at like this locally owned game store, nerdy store, comics, board games, video games, the whole nine yards, so on and so forth. But ended up getting $80 in trading credit for some things that I've had for a while now and I just didn't want anymore. And I only spent like $9 and some cent, I think, altogether. There was like a few little pro wrestling, old school WWE buttons that I ended up getting for a backpack of mine that I take to work, but I don't have those here to show right now. But I'm just going to go ahead and the first thing I'm going to show, actually, is obviously game related, but it's not like technically video game related. It's more board game related. But they gave us this bag that we ended up getting that we got the games put in. But I thought it just looked really amazing and really awesome. And I said, you know what? We're definitely going to end up keeping this. So I don't know what exactly we'll put in it, but we definitely don't want anything to happen to it. So yeah, definitely one of the first times I think I've ever gotten a bag from a store where I really wanted to keep them, keep the bag itself. But first one that we got here is Lord of Arcana on PSP, and all of these I ended up getting like really cheap. The most expensive thing I think that I got out of this entire stack was like $14.99, and that was just one thing. Everything else was probably ranged anywhere between, I think, $4 to $10, I believe. Everything else that I got, I think. So yeah, definitely ended up getting some really good deals, and you'll see which one is $14.99 because I can't get the freaking sticker off of there until I get some of that glue gun stuff or whatever it is. The next one that we have here is Coated Arms for PSP. Heard really good things about this. I thought they'd have the sequel there, but they don't. It's a friend of mine told me it was a really cool game as well. He hadn't played the second one. Apparently there was supposed to be one coming to PS3, but it hasn't. Lord of Arcana, as I forgot to mention, is kind of like an action RPG. I heard it's actually pretty challenging as well. The next one we have here is Dungeon Maker Hunting Ground. It's a really unique kind of game, and of course it's from Xseed. You know, Xseed's going to end up making some really interesting kind of games. It's basically you're building this dungeon to have monsters go there, and you can raid the dungeon to be able to kill the monsters and get supplies and things, I think, to build the dungeon even more and help the town that's near it. Or you can just let the monsters move in and get their valuables and things like that to be able to, like, I guess other rare valuables or something that you can put towards your town or something like that. I played very little of it, but I ended up getting for I think like $5 or something. But honestly, man, like for that price and knowing how interesting, I love the whole dungeon thing there in the back. Knowing how interesting it seemed like it was sounding, I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. Next one we have here is Killzone Liberation, kind of like it's an action over the top action game in the Killzone universe, but I think it's like a little bit. There's like a little bit of strategy that's thrown in there. So yeah, looking forward to going into that one. Some of these I played a little bit of, but not so much so far, so I can't give like a full-blown review or anything like that. The next one we have here is Darkstone. It's basically a Diablo clone, but it's got really good reviews, and it is pretty cool. I used to have this way back when, and I have no idea why I got rid of it, but I mean, for the price that I got it for, it was definitely worth getting again. And I like Diablo clone style of games, so yeah, I ended up having something like that on PS1. It's definitely worth picking up, and I've heard it is a little hard to get into to start out with, but then after that, somebody mentioned there's like a hint of Champions of Norath, Dark Alliance 1 and 2 gameplay in there, along with Diablo. The next one we have here is Quake II. Obviously, you see, that one was $9.99. Got it at Battlegrounds Games and Comics. Actually, all of these ended up coming from there. I also got this really cheap on PC, but I've always wanted to have it physically. I don't know how the PS1 version runs, but regardless of that, I still definitely want to be able to give it a shot on the console. Some of these actually have really unique kind of looks to them on the discs, so I kind of wanted to show that a bit if I could get it open. Quake 2 right there, definitely really cool looking, so definitely happy to finally end up having a physical copy of that for sure. The PSP ones, then, it really ain't too much to write home about, I think, in terms of how they look, but Coated Arms kind of has a little bit of a other sleeve going on there, if you will, and yeah, there's some stickers on these and on the inside that I can't take off at the moment until I get that glue gun stuff. And oh my god, we just spoiled some of the things, but it's okay. Cursed Crusade for the PS3. Heard good things and bad things about it. Had it digitally. Honestly liked it. I ended up transferring my save over to the new PS3, and apparently it didn't transfer when I put it onto the hard drive. So yeah, I wasn't that far into it, but I'm finally glad to own it again, and then I can get back to where I was before, because there's no chance I'm going to be transferring any more saves over to that PS3 again. Just the way the hard drive worked with it, even though it said it did work with it, but I guess technically it didn't. Next one we have here for Xbox is Seablade. It's kind of like it's an action game, but it's more along the lines of like I guess, plane flying mech kind of game thingamajiggy. I've seen some footage of it, but I was like, I definitely got to go ahead and give it a shot myself. So yeah, there's that. The next one we have here is Metal Dungeon on Xbox, and this is basically, I guess, like a turn-based RPG. I've heard good things and bad things, but knowing how cheap it was, I said, you know what, I got to go ahead and give it a shot. It's a freaking, like, looks like it's like a freaking sci-fi kind of turn-based RPG something, but I mean, I definitely needed to go for it. This one is called XMorph, and I've heard mixed reviews for this. It's basically like a third-person shooting kind of game, but you also have the ability to be able to morph into this creature to be able to take out these various enemies. And from what I've seen of it, it looked like it was pretty fun. And knowing how cheap I ended up getting these, you know, you can't go wrong with them. So it's not like you're really losing out, I guess you could say, especially considering the fact that I only paid like $9 or something out of pocket. The next one we have here is Fairy Tale Fights for the 360. My fiance saw this and really, really wanted to get it. She saw some gameplay footage of it and really did like it. I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a shot myself. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine was telling me about this and was playing it and was talking about how hilariously gory it was and how fun it was. So definitely looking forward to giving that one a shot. And the last one that we have here is the most expensive of the bunch, the $14.99 Nightshade for PS2. I guess basically it was supposed to be a spin-off of Shinobi, as Shinobi was kind of challenging. And it said here that the manual was included. Inquire at the register, which I didn't do, which I forgot to do. I remember seeing this on the back of the box, but I didn't say anything while I was there. So yeah, I don't have the manual. If I can hold on to the receipt and then take it back, hopefully maybe they'll give it to me. But yeah, that was my bad, my fault. I don't know if she showed up in the original Shinobi or not, but I think this was a little bit easier than Shinobi from what I've heard, or maybe it was a little bit harder. I don't really know, but definitely glad to finally have that, because this has been one of those titles that I've been looking to pick up for a while now. So, and finding it at that price seemed like it was worth it to me. But anyways, that is the pickups that I ended up picking up at this local game shop thingamajiggy. Technically, it was like I think it was probably about like 30 minutes away or something, so it's technically not local, but it was local enough to the point to where, you know what, I got some really good trading credit, unlike GameSlop, which would probably give me 50 cents for everything that I was going to be taking in there. I would go ahead and end this like I always do. Later, taters.